Hello! It is September 23rd, the autumnal equinox, and so we're on the cusp, and it is time once again for 5 minutes with the Flawed Guru. Um, it's interesting this year, it seems like a lot of people are sort of talking about the autumnal equinox. Um, and relating it, I mean, for me in these videos, I've generally been relating it to both earth medicine, in which this is the beginning, yesterday, September 22nd. They usually do it on the 22nd. This year it happens that the equinox came on the 23rd. And so it's the beginning of falling leaves time. And the totem animal is the crow. The stone is azurite. The plant is ivy. And in astrology, it is Libra that we are in now. And it is ruled by the planet Venus. And in both of these traditions, it's an air sign, which means, a time when the thoughts are percolating. In earth medicine, they call it air with earth, because it's like a time like where all of the thinking and everything like that is going on, but also there's an element of grounding and practicality. So it seems, as I was beginning to say, it seems that this year a lot of people are conscious that this is the point. A lot of times we just kind of ride through things, but this year, in gatherings of friends of mine and also on the news and different kinds of things, a lot of people, pointing out that right now we are at this point where the light and the dark are equal. This day and March 22nd, 2 days of the year when the day, the period of light of the day and the period of night from the time when the sun goes down until it rises are equal. Only 2 times in the whole year. So the the emphasis, of people that I've heard talk about it, they talk about balance, because at this time the light and the dark are balanced. And I just think that it's very interesting to look at it in terms of the year as a whole is balanced. We have our equinoxes and our solstices, and the year revolves around. And so within the course of a year, then the period of time of the day and the period of time of the night, the light and the dark, the period of time of the cold and the period of time of the hot are balanced. On any other day other than today and March 22nd, they're not balanced. But as a whole, it is balanced. The organic cycles, the cycles of time, have balance. But at any given moment in time, there is not necessarily balance. And so then it's like in the ancient traditions, they say that there is always this cycle, the wheel of fortune. And a person of higher consciousness or greater wisdom, they tend to go to the center of the circle, because the closer that you are to the center, then the closer you are to balance. The closer you are to the source, the closer you are to balance. Because as it is right now, I always think it's good to refer to the antipode whenever you're talking about the year, when you're talking about astrology or whatever, to see it as an axis rather than as a single point on the circumference. So the axis that we're on right now, Libra Aries axis, the time of the spring when everything is bursting out of the earth, as opposed to the time of the fall when it is falling leaves time. and the life force is withdrawing. So to see things in that kind of context, because at the spring equinox, all of a sudden, all of the energy that was stirred within the earth is bursting forth. In the and so thus begins, the planting and the sprouting, the germination of seeds and the growth period. We've been through all of this year. The period of bursting forth, the period of sprouting, the period of growing, the period of bearing fruit, the harvesting time. And now that cycle, that yang cycle, which actually began December 22nd with the birth of the sun, and then it takes time for the sun to begin its northern ascent, and then to begin to share its warmth, its solar radiation with the earth, and then the earth responds. Now we're at the other end of that. Now the sun, which it began, we could say, just like the birth of the sun was there, the birth of darkness was June 22nd, right when the sun was at its peak. And since that time, the sun has been receding south. And so, and now we're at an equal point. And so the solar energy is lessening. The solar energy is withdrawing. And so we're entering now the period of time when the dark will have ascendance for 6 months. And when there will be more dark, the nights will be longer than the days for 6 months. And we'll progressively go back to that December 22nd time when, it reaches the Southern Cross, and then it begins to come back. And so then, we begin once again to, have that expectation of the bursting forth of energy. But right now, we are at a balanced point. The day is equal to the night, but the night is growing. So there's a phenomenon, it's very obvious to us that the sun, has greater radiation on the earth during the period of time of solar ascendancy. But we don't always think about its counterpart, which is the life force, the electrical energy, the yin that is within the earth, the yin energy. It's not just purely the sun shines and then everything happens. There is also an energy factor in the earth, an internal factor. So that at this time now, the life with the falling leaves time, that yin energy is withdrawing into the earth. You could say there's an electrical aspect to it, and the electricity is withdrawing into the Earth's electricity, and also the life force. With the receding of the sun, the life force is withdrawing back into the earth. And so we are entering, for the earth, a period of rest and recharging, regeneration. It's not really rest, though. It's just like the cycle of night and day, When you have a period of time like where, at the equinox, sun rises at 6 o'clock, sun sets at 6 p.m. And our clocks are all screwed up because of daylight savings time and everything like that. But, generally those 2 points. Now, when the sun goes down, and even when you go to sleep later, you have the hours of evening and dusk where you don't sleep yet, and then you go to bed, and then you sleep. Sleep on one level is a time of rest, but on another level it's a time of real activity. Just like when the earth is recharging, when the energy is going back in the earth, it's not only dormant. There's a recharging that's going on, so that there will be a renewal of that energy when the positive and the negative come, when the yin and the yang come together again. Then there'll be a whole new bursting out of life and everything like that. So this time is a time when we begin to go more uh, internal. Um, Generally speaking, the winter months are more of a time of activity inside, unless you're a skier or whatever. But still, even for those are like little bursts of activity. The activity is internal. During the period of time of the cold and the darkness, we look more to the inner fire than we do to the outer fire. We are going to move to the time of where the hearth and the home are really, really important. And within ourselves, it's the heart. The heart is important. The heart and the spirit. So I just wanted to mention that particular kind of thing. At the equinox in the spring, everything is bursting out. We're going outward. That energy dynamic between the yin and yang is taking place. Then now we're going to where there's a withdrawal. There's more of an internalization. And so you want to be aware of that. And so this is a time, not really yet to go really into the deep internal. As we go into Scorpio and Sagittarius and Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, that's a period of time. But because right now, another thing is the spring equinox and the fall equinox are two of the periods of times where has to be a surge of activity, of getting ready. In the spring, you're getting ready for this bursting forth. In the fall, you have to get ready for winter. There's all the thing. We're completing the harvesting time. The wood for winter has to be stored up. You need to be sure that you're ready for winter. You've gotten the fruits of the summer, right? So the fruits need to be canned and preserved. And the vegetables canned and preserved so that you have food in the winter. The wood needs to be harvested and stored up so that you have fire for the hearth in the winter. The leaves need to be raked up. There's all kinds of preparation. The water that during the period of time of the heat, when everything needs water to complement the heat, the water outside's got to be shut off or it's going to freeze up. It's going to break the pipes. So this is a period of time when there's a lot of work to be done getting ready for the winter. Once that work is done and the winter is coming, right, or has come, then that is a period of time then for the hearth and everything like that. So this is a period when we need to recognize that the dark is ascending, that the nights are going to be longer than the days, and we prepare for that. And so it's also a time then where we are grateful, grateful for what we've experienced. It's kind of like if you go to a party and there's a whole lot of energy, and then, all of a sudden the energy is waning, the party's over, then there's still a lot of work to be done. You got to clean everything up. You got to put everything away, get everything back in place. So we're sort of at that time. We've had this surge of energy through the year 2015. Now it's withdrawing, and now we're preparing for the winter. I'm not going to make any kind of complete analogy out of that. It's like, just to say it, I'm just saying what the time is. The time is, now the nights are going to be longer than the days for 6 months. Now the weather is going to be colder. Now you're going to need to cover up more and say goodbye. Say goodbye, but doing it not, in a way that is pessimistic. It's actually optimistic, because we're going to go through a process of internalization, regeneration, and recharging, that will bring us forward to new endeavors. So, and then regardless of the time, because there are bigger cycles than just the Earth cycle, and the relationship between Terra and the Sun. Um, there's also the lunar cycles, but beyond that, there are many, many other cycles that are going on. And in our lives, there are many, many different cycles, different biorhythms that go on. They all follow the same kind of pattern, though, where there's a period, of intense, energy and going out and meeting and cross-fertilization, stimulation, and then there's a period of time when that slows down and then withdraws, and then you bring together, you sort of, you reflect on the things, you reflect on it, you do the work, of finishing things up, you reflect on things, and then it's good when this period of time is going on to prepare, to know that if you have a period of time of a tremendous expenditure of energy and excitement, if you have a big uptime, there's going to be a downtime. And so in the transition between the two, it's just like you prepare a lot of things with a lot of anticipation for the party. It's like then when the party's over, then also as you finish up all the different kinds of things, then you also need to prepare for that period of time of aloneness. And like if you have a manic period, if you're in a manic period, then it's good then to prepare for the depressive period. If you're in a downtime, then you prepare for the uptime. And so, just to realize, it's not just, it's not just, that, there will, it's like, okay, I am going to be balanced. It's like to realize that there are cycles of time. And so to think and prepare for the future in ways, because the time, as I said in the beginning, the time is not always, perfectly balanced. Sometimes you're more up, sometimes you're more down. When you're more up, then you kind of ride it through the energy, hopefully, doing it in positive ways and, using the wisdom that is appropriate to that particular stage. But then as you're going to the transfer, where the dark is gaining ascendancy over the light, and I don't mean dark in a negative way, but where the yin energy is increasing, then you also need to be aware of those things, and you need to prepare for that, prepare for the fact that, okay, I am going to go into a period of time where the work is going to be internal. The work is going to be more subconscious or unconscious, and that is going to be a good thing for me. It's not, if I'm not engaged in external activity, it doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. I am doing work internally that is just as important as the external work. So that's just a short little comment. I believe I've probably gone well over 5 minutes again. And I actually had other things that I was going to talk about. I just want to refer, to the introduction to the Flawed Guru videos that I did, just to remind everybody that I am not a guru. Although, so why am I doing Flawed Guru videos? Traditionally the guru is initiated. The guru, knows somebody who knows the way. And that person, as they progressed on the way, says, okay, now, you know the way. Now you can be a guide. And I am not professing to know the way. In my own view, it's like there is a way, and God knows the way. And if you seek God, and as Jesus said, love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all of your mind, God will show you the way. So ultimately, God is the ultimate guru. Now, people who have navigated their way through life in such a way, and especially, generally where guruhood is associated with spirituality and stuff like that, and people who have gone through certain kinds of training and, learn things, that then they are made a teacher by their teacher, then that's okay. I think, still you got to take everything with a grain of salt because of the human nature. It's like, I think, that you want to find somebody who can help you to know the way, but you need to be aware of anybody who, anybody, because of the ego, anybody who puts themselves up as a guru. So, just reminding people like that, I am not a guru, and, but that one person in particular and other people have said, "You are my guru." And I said, "No, I am not a guru." And they said, "No, but to me you have been a guru." So, and then I was asked by one of these people, they suggested the possibility of me doing these little videos called the Flawed Guru videos. So then, because I was asked to do it, then I'm doing it. And but take it for what it's worth, and remember that there is within you, that compass. And just as the earth responds to the sun in a meaningful and regular way, it's like, for you to, seek the one, then there is that within you that will respond to the one, to the source, to God, to Allah, to Brahma, to the Tao, that will help you to navigate. Just like birds have a little crystalline, structure inside their tiny little brain that helps them to navigate the electromagnetic field of the earth. In the same way, you have an internal core and center within you that will help you to find the way and to navigate. In order to activate that, you need to seek the one. You need to appeal, to the heart of the universe, to the core source of the universe, the one. There's no description, there's no definition of what it is that I am talking about. But you know what it is. We go back to the Atman and Brahman and the Atman, that are thou. You can activate your own internal guidance system. And so, getting back just to this period of time of balance, I'm just saying, this is just something to, kind of help orient ourselves in terms of, the seasonal time. What time is it in terms of that, in terms of what's going on? And that does affect us. But in the larger cycle of things, it's for you, to look to, it's for you to seek, like Jesus said, seek and you will find. It's for you to seek truth and to seek love and to seek the one. When you do, then it's like that same kind of response as between the sun and the earth, where the sun's rays, activate the earth and the two come together. In the same way, seek the truth, seek light, seek love, seek God. And then, there is a coming together which will cause your life and your personality to blossom. And it will go through these kinds of cycles that I've been talking about. So thank you for bearing with me, and this is the falling leaves time, and I didn't really get to talk about the crow or those other things, but it's fun, and illuminating sometimes to look these up, just to know what's going on, and to look things up. But these are all cyclical things that are going on, and it's not there. It's like used to say, well, it's not just a cycle, it's a spiral, because if you are ascending, you're going through cyclical process as you ascend. And that is the important part. That is the important part to remember. That you have a divine, destiny, and to seek to fulfill that destiny, and to be assured that you can and you will fulfill that destiny. If you keep that present in your mind and you appeal to the ultimate, absolute reality, divine source, to guide you, then you will be guided. That's just the way it works.